This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours. We're a music podcast that chats to artists, musicians and creatives on their songwriting craft and upcoming projects. I'm your host Simon Fink and welcome to episode 247. We're fast approaching 250 episodes, and helping us on our way to that milestone is today's podcast guest. It is Lastlings. The Australian dance sibling duo are making an incredible return this year and have just announced their brand new record, Perfect World, which comes out in June. Before we get into our conversation with Amy and Josh from the band, make sure you subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever pod app you use. That way you can stay up to date on all of our upcoming episodes. Same goes for our social media platforms, which you can find details for all in the episode show notes. Our guests today are Amy and Josh Dowdle, who you might know better as Lastlings. They're one of the best Australian dance exports that we've had over the last number of years, and they released their debut record First Contact back in 2020. They make the most incredible and emotional dance music that is mesmerising and transports you onto another kind of plane or level. I already know what you're thinking. I do know that previous sentence was a little cliche and saccharine, but I do advise you to have a listen to their previous record and a listen to their brilliant forthcoming record, Perfect World, which they did announce last week, alongside the release of a brand new single called Noise. Now, full disclaimer, I have been lucky enough to have a listen to that full record, which does come out in June, Perfect World, hence why I am talking about it and talking it up so much, sorry. But I do stand by it. Anyone who has any qualms or queries after listening to it, please come see me. I honestly believe fans are in for a treat with this record. In today's conversation, we are talking to Amy and Josh about the formation of Lastlings and how they came to be a band. We discuss both of their upbringings with classical music and how that might possibly, in maybe a subconscious roundabout kind of way, play into the music that they do write. We're, of course, discussing the new record Perfect World and single Noise, and we also discuss the incredible Head in the Clouds festival that Lastlings took part in while touring America. It's an incredible festival where the lineup is made up of artists who are of Asian descent, which is really special, and well, we'll let them discuss their experience at the festival. It is a lovely story. All of Lastling's socials can be found in the show notes for today's episode. And we want to say a massive thank you to Jordan and Megan from Infamous for their help with today's episode. Here is our conversation with Lastlings. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Amy and Josh from Lastlings. Hello, how are we both?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good.
I'm also good to complete the trilogy of the three of us. Thank you both very much for joining us on the podcast today.
No worries. Thank you for having us.
Of course. Where are you joining us from at the present time?
We are both at Josh's house. I'm currently staying a few doors down from him, so I'm in the middle of trying to find a new place in Melbourne, so it's been quite the process.
I can very much appreciate that. Well, I'm very glad that Josh has good Wi-Fi to be able to support us here today.
I do have good Wi-Fi, but the guy over the road is doing some doomsday prep and he's like angle grinding his trailer, so I'm hoping he doesn't make too much noise, to be honest, but he seems to have chilled out for now, so let's
That's
crack on.
I'm always really curious Oh, look, we won't go too far into Doomsday Prep. That can be for another episode. We'll get you back for that.
Yeah, for sure.
We do have you both here today because it is a very exciting time in the world of Lastlings. There is a new single out in the form of Noise, and there is an announcement of a brand new record. Firstly, congratulations on both. I imagine it's quite a lot of buzz going on in your camp at the moment.
Yeah, there is. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're really excited about the album coming out. So we've worked on it for the last maybe 2 years now, and ever since first contact we've just been trying to write as much as we can between touring and life and everything else. So yeah, we're really excited that it's starting to be all released now.
It's a lot of lockdown music as well in there, especially Noise as well. We started that one in Byron, and then it eventually turned into a full song once we both moved to Melbourne. And yeah, I think we were both, were we in lockdown? I think you were in lockdown.
Noise started when we got a little Airbnb in Ocean Shores, which is, I'm going to say it is like at the top of New South Wales, just going in. I can't remember if it's Queensland or not. No, it's definitely New South Wales. Anyway, we got an Airbnb there and we spent a week or a week and a half writing there, and Noise was one of the songs that eventuated from that. And I don't think Amy actually had lyrics or much vocal content on that one yet. So it was mostly just the instrumental stuff that started then. And then I think once we moved to Melbourne, yeah, like Amy said, she started to get the lyrics going, and we finished recording it here. Melbourne.
Fans have been treated to quite a bit of music kind of, I want to say sporadically, not sporadically, but given to us in little bits and pieces over the last number of months in the lead up to the announcement of the record. I think we had Get What You Want and Holding Me Like Water, which to my understanding was the first bit of new music that you worked on for this new record.
So, yeah, Get What You Want, we recorded on the Gold Coast. We booked out a studio for about a week, and Josh had his own room and I had my own writing room as well. And, I think when we wrote that song, we were actually listening to like quite a lot of pop music, and I think Nelly Furtado was one that I was listening to. So I think in that song you can kind of hear like there's almost a bit of like sassiness. So, and I feel like Nelly Furtado, she's like so cool, and like, I drew a lot of inspiration from her and a lot of other pop artists as well. And then Holding Me Like Water is definitely like one of those breakup songs on the album. A lot of them are actually a lot about relationships.
I'm very curious how you both approach songwriting, especially if it is about heartbreak or if it's about relationships. I guess going with you first, Amy, is it something that you'll bring lyrics to Josh and be like, this is what I kind of want to sing about? Or will you, I guess, what is the process of songwriting between the two of you, and how collaborative is it or how separate is it?
So Josh does all the production, and then sometimes he'll bring me a song and then I'll write a full song over it, or a few songs on the album I've like written from scratch like late at night, and I've given that to Josh and he's produced around it. That's been our process for this album. And then I think we're starting to like kind of go back and forth, and I think we're going to try and write things together in the same room more often, because we're quite separate when we write.
Yeah, I feel like I work better on my own. Nothing against Amy at all. Just I feel like I just work better when I'm on my own or in my own space, and I work better at night, which is unfortunate because I do like going to bed early and wake up early. But I feel like once it hits like after 9 p.m. or 10 p.m, everyone just stops bothering you. Your friends stop texting you. You know, it feels like the world kind of stops, and it's a very like clear time to make music and just get absorbed by it. But I think Amy and I do write good stuff when we're together as well. So I think we're going to definitely try and implement that more for like the stuff after this next album. But yeah, like Amy said, for the most part on this album that's coming out now, we did most of it separately. Amy would send me some demo stuff with some either basic production or if it's just like a little bit of piano, and then I'd kind of use bits and pieces of that or just completely strip everything away and just use the vocal. Or I'd always say like, is this okay, Amy? And then if she says no, I'd make another version or anything like that. Yeah, but yeah, it's quite collaborative in that way. I don't actually do any of the lyric writing anymore. I think I just leave that more to Amy. I think we found that the more Amy got older and more mature, I think she wanted to sing about her own experiences, and I think it probably feels better for her to sing about her own experiences more than something that I've written for her. So
I can very much appreciate that. Is there ever a discussion maybe around, just on what you said at the end there, Josh, in terms of that what Amy would send you'd kind of build around, is there a discussion between the two of you prior to, I guess if you have the knowledge that you're making a record, is there a discussion of what the sonics are going to be, or was it that you guys just kind of stumbled or fell into making a second record?
Yeah, so we've just finished we're starting to figure out the next sound for like a third album, or like what we want to do post this current one. So I think
it's just hard because we both like so many different genres, and I think like I want to just be able to like draw inspiration from all different genres of music and not place ourselves like in a box.
Yeah.
Because even with that most recent album, the album I'm about to put out, I don't think we had like a playlist. Oh no, we did have a playlist where we put in songs that we liked and were listening to. But I actually think that this album's kind of just turned into its own sort of thing. Like it doesn't really sound that similar to all the music that we had in that playlist.
Yeah, it's like a good launching point, and then I feel like from then on we kind of trust our instincts as well and try and make something that we feel is original to us. And we kind of start with playlisting out a few songs that we like or think would be good sonically, and just go from there basically. But in terms of actual lyrical content and stuff, just leave it to Amy and how she's feeling at the time, and the themes that she wants to sing about are probably stuff that's more close to her.
100%. Amy, with you being the primary lyric writer at this point, how do you approach sharing some of these more intimate details, I guess? Because as you've mentioned, my condolences that it is a heartbreak record. So I guess, how do you approach being able to share that while still keeping it as a Lastlings kind of song?
Well, I think I kind of have no choice but to share it to Josh. So
That's fair,
So I kind of just send it and say, like, I've written this and I hope you like it, and then Josh will just listen to it.
Yeah.
And
I guess like when Amy sends stuff, we're pretty honest with each other, probably like more brutally honest with each other than maybe like a normal band would be, because we're brother and sister. But I don't know, there's been times where Amy sends something that's really good, and then some stuff I'll be like, oh, maybe just change this, or we should fix this area of the chorus, or like, as much as I don't write the lyrics, I do try and from the beginning help or guide it through so that we're both happy with how it sounds and how the chorus is presented and everything else as well.
Of course. I imagine that kind of working relationship is helped by being siblings, but also is built up over time and trial and error, and probably going through different conversations to be able to get to that point where you can to work like that.
Yeah,
and I think we're still definitely working it out.
Yeah, but our communication has definitely gotten way better, like, since because we started when I was probably like 15 and you were 21.
Yeah, I was 21. We've probably been doing it for like 7.5 years now, so minus the few years of COVID, but yeah.
I think seeing growth from when we started to like how we are now, like I think we're like the way we communicate's much better.
Of course.
I guess that comes with age as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. For both of you, I guess, what was that, and maybe Josh will go with you first, what was that first introduction to music and songwriting and production as well?
So I played, well, how early do we want to go? Like from kid? I started learning classical piano when I was a kid, and then I hated it, so I stopped. And then my mum was very upset about that. And then I'm upset about it now because I wish I kept learning. I've recently started learning classical again through a friend. And then I learnt acoustic classical guitar, which I also didn't like. And then I gave that up. And then I started teaching myself electric guitar in high school, which I loved. And then I had a little band with my friends in high school, and then a little bit in university while I was studying. And then post university, I downloaded Ableton for the first time, my music production software. And then when I was in Japan, I had a lot of time to myself. I went on like a 3-4 month trip. So I had a lot of time just on my own on trains in different hotels or hostels or wherever I was traveling to. And I had a lot of time just studying, self-studying how to produce stuff. And it was never any good. I made a few like remixes and stuff. They're all terrible. But it was just good to learn and be around and be inspired by a lot of things and look at things and see how that would translate into sound and hear different things when you're in the city or if you're in nature and see how that translates into sound. And yeah, it was really formative time, I think, for me, going to Japan and learning. But yeah, ever since then, I've just kind of, it's honestly one of those things where you just keep learning and learning. Like you buy a new synth, you're learning that, and then there's always new plugins, and then there's learning to mix, and I feel like it's just never ending.
Yes, I would agree that there's so many different kind of additional things being released or put on top of, as you even mentioned, plugins, things like that you just learn every day. At that point, when you were making some of those beats or music, was there a project in mind?
In like when I first started?
Yes, sorry, like when you're in Japan and kind of making, playing around in Ableton, did you think it would lead to Lastlings?
No, not at all. It was just a fun thing to do, and I just wanted to record ideas, and I can't remember who I was kind of inspired by back then, but I did love a lot of like Alt J music, and I think Wave Racer was really popular at the time, or just like put some music out. And I think Flume as well had like released a few, like his first EP around that time as well. So I think, yeah, I just had a bit of an interest in learning how to make electronic music.
100%. I would be curious to kind of get, Amy, your story on how you came to songwriting and lyric writing, and then I guess where it was that you and Josh came across Lastlings as like something that was a viable kind of option to pursue.
This summer, Instacart presents famous summer flavors coming to your front door. Or pool. Or hotel.
Your grocery delivery has arrived, sir.
That was faster than room service.
No violins in the lobby.
Oh, seriously? Anyway, sit back, relax, and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Starring your favorite snacks, drinks, and more. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Rated H for hungry audiences. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. What are your self-care non-negotiables? It's hard to make time for the things that keep you healthy. But being consistent with self-care is like working a muscle. And when life gets crazy, that muscle keeps you strong. Therapy is the ultimate self-care, and BetterHelp makes it easy to get started with affordable online sessions you can do from anywhere. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com today to get 10% off your first month.
Well, I did classical piano when I was younger as well, probably because Josh quit and then Mum was like, here you go, Amy. But I did that throughout school. And then I think when I was in primary school, I did like a lot of choir. I did choir and musicals, and I was very into that, and drama. And I think I've always been very into storytelling. And I remember Dad and I used to do karaoke a lot. So I think that got me into singing. So I thank Dad for that. And Mum was also because Mum's Japanese. So we'd always go as a family and do karaoke, which was very fun. And I think when I was in grade 10, we decided to start making music because I'd always walk into Josh's, like when Josh was doing band and in the garage, I would walk into the garage and listen to them. And because at the time I was only just really playing playing piano in my room and singing. And then, I was very interested in what they were doing as a band. And then Josh and I would get together sometimes and he would play guitar and I would sing. And I just remember, I think the first time we were trying to learn, I think it was Chet Baker and Alt J, I think. We were trying to learn their music. And then that's kind of how we started like singing together or playing music together. And then we ended up writing our first song with someone else on the Gold Coast.
I love how kind of organic that seems. Obviously, both at a start with classical piano. Thank you to Mum for both of those starts, and very different paths, but came kind of back together. Do you think that somewhere, because now that you've both mentioned it and thinking of, and by the way, we were very lucky to have had a very quick listen to the record before it comes out in June, so I feel very appreciative of that. There are certain chord structures or I want to even say cadences within these songs that are semi-reminiscent of classical music. Do you think that somewhere deep in the back of your mind some of that theory is still kind of sitting there?
Maybe.
I'd like to think so, but it's just honestly been so long since I studied classical or even learnt piano that I feel like it might be in the back of my head, but when I try and play anything on piano, it just, nothing comes to mind. It's, so yeah, like I said, I've been trying to learn classical this year a bit more, but I think songs like Perfect World are very piano-based, and songs like, I'm trying to think about what else has a bit more piano presence, but I guess the theory itself, I'm very self-taught, so I just kind of touch things and then just, if it sounds good, it sounds good to me. So I think, but maybe that is just because I learned classical when I was younger, so I kind of have a bit of the ear for it already.
I think it definitely helped a lot. I feel like even in dancing, like I feel like when ballet, I feel like it's like the core of everything. I'm not a dancer, so I'm probably wrong, and there's probably
I think it's an okay analogy.
You're wrong.
It definitely works.
Yeah, but I feel like with like learning classical music, because I feel like it's the core, or like you just see like jazz musicians that are just good at everything now because they are so good at.
You definitely,
jazz.
I guess our ears were definitely trained like well from a young age. So
set up with good foundations, if you will.
For sure.
I know that you've been able to. We've discussed like a little bit at COVID. I know that you've been able to return to touring somewhere in the last 12 months. I think you played Falls and the Australian Open. How's it been being able to get back out there in a live sense?
It feels very good. I think I enjoy performing a lot. And even though I think I'm just excited to play all of our new music though, because we've been playing maybe the same songs for the last few years. So it'll be good to come back and play all of our new stuff. And I think it'll be more exciting as well. Not that like playing is always exciting because you always get to play to different demographics of like different like we played this festival recently in Adelaide, and I think there was about maybe 10 like girls under 15 like running around and like breakdancing in the crowd, and it was just so like interesting. It was just so nice to like be able to play to like a younger crowd, and I think all the shows we play are always so different, so it's always so fun to be able to, it's just always something new and exciting every time we play.
100%. I know that it might be a little bit preemptive, and obviously we don't want to let any cats out of the bag or get anyone in trouble. Can we possibly expect, with this new album coming out in June, that there is going to be a tour and that we'll be able to see you around the country a little bit more?
For sure. Yeah, we're very excited to tour the album. It's we've been, like Amy said, we've been playing a lot of First Contact for the last few years, and we have started to play some of the new singles live, but I think it's really exciting for us to break out of that repetition of always having to play the same songs every time and play something that's new. And it's exciting for us, and hopefully it will be exciting for everyone else to see something different and a different sound and different. I think we'll add some different instruments, and yeah, I think it's going to be fun. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, even now it's fun playing all of our
the new music's
new
been
music
great to play
because no one's heard it yet, and it's interesting to see how the audience reacts to those songs. And one of them, like, it feels really good, so I'm very excited once everyone actually knows the song.
We have a
and
song
the
called
lyrics.
Gravity. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about, Amy. Is that? But yeah. That's
We love
sure, why not? But like, that song has been so fun to play, and I think our label loves it, and a lot of our friends and even just fans are like, what's that song? And I think that's really cool because it's not out yet and people are asking about it. So I think once we finally give it out to everyone, I think hopefully that'll be great, exciting for everyone too.
I think that from an outsider's perspective, even doing research for today, that there is a lot of excitement for new Lastlings music. And so I'm sure that as I mentioned, having had a very brief sneak preview of it, I'm sure that fans are going to love this album. I don't have any doubt in my mind that this isn't going to be well loved. I wanted to very quickly touch on what was it called? The Head in the Clouds festival that you played in the US, which is an incredible festival, and I feel like something that they should do more here in Australia. It is a festival where, as you mentioned, your mum is Japanese, and all of the artists on this lineup, kind of regardless of genre, are of Asian descent in some kind of way. I was just wanting to know, I guess, what was that experience like? Because we are starting to see more and more diversity on lineups, and when you can fill an entire lineup of these incredible performers, I imagine that it's quite something to behold and also take part of.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like, Josh and I had the chance to walk around the festival after, and even just walking through the crowd, like, everyone was like Asian or half Asian, and I felt so at home. And yeah, I think even all the artists that I've been listening to since I was growing up, like, there was a few artists that my mum introduced us to that were Japanese, but like, even just like listening to the radio and stuff, like, I never really heard, like, in Australia at least, like Asian artists. Like, there's definitely more starting to pop up now, but it's just like growing up, I never really heard anyone here. I don't know if it's because I was living under a rock or if there weren't any.
The only one I can really name in Australia was Last Dinosaurs, I think, when we were growing up. And even them were quite close.
Yeah, because they were Japanese. Yeah. But yeah, just being able to play a festival where the whole lineup is Asian is amazing. And even they had like this performance at the very end where Michelle Yeoh came out on stage, and it was just so cool.
Yeah, the entire festival was great. Just even the food trucks and everything was like Asian food, and we had a lot of friends that we had met through Instagram or through social media, and like they're chefs just different walks of life, not just musicians and other creatives. And we got other Asian creatives, that we could meet and connect with there. And it was just a really great festival, really. I got to see Teriyaki Boys, which is so funny because it's the Fast and Furious song. It was just so iconic to see.
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. It's almost like even just watching seeing the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, and everyone's getting awards for that, and they're all Asian, and it's just, it's very cool to see our the Asian community being represented.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like there's a lot of great Asian representation at the moment, and I think growing up we didn't really have a lot of that. Even I don't know too many half Asian artists and stuff. So especially when we're growing up, there's not too much to look up to. So
hopefully we can inspire other people that are in Australia as well, especially to make music. And
100%. I obviously understand my what is the word I'm looking for? I am a white male, but my wife is of Asian descent as well, and similar conversations of that. I think she's probably a similar age to yourself, Josh, and that not many role models growing up, but that obviously does seem to be changing, and is obviously we can add Lastlings to that list as well now, so that people growing up of Asian descent do have role models here in Australia. Lastlings, I think 1,300 at the moment. There are some incredible musicians that are coming out. So I'm very glad to hear that Head in the Clouds was a positive experience. Very jealous that you got to see Michelle Yeoh, and hopefully that we'll start to see something like that here in Australia. Amy and Josh, usually we would ask our guests what they're currently listening to, if there's anything that's on high rotation for yourself. Amy, would you like to go first?
High rotation. I always cave when I get asked this question.
Josh, would you like to go first?
I also cave on this question because I honestly listen to so much different stuff, but I found myself listening to a lot of calming and relaxing music. So I listen to a lot of Niels Fram and Olafur Arnolds at the moment because I feel like life and touring and everything and just music in general is just so chaotic that I find solace in listening to just quiet and calming piano music. And then when it comes to making our own stuff, I'm listening to a drum kit or a kick drum for hours on end. So I find myself just listening to more chill, relaxing stuff on rotation. But yeah, I think my highest played album was Niels Fram's one. I'm trying to... All Melody. That was my highest played on Spotify this year.
Very solid choice. Niels Fram is, wonderful to relax to. Amy, what about yourself?
I just had to scroll through my Spotify. I've been listening to a lot of 80s music and a lot of just old bangers, I think. The nostalgic music.
Nothing wrong with that.
What else?
If I was going to add to mine as well, I'd probably just add Max Cooper as well. I've been listening to a lot of his stuff and that kind of more introspective electronic music. I feel like there's no lyrics in it, but it feels like it tells enough of a story to hit you in the feels.
Yeah, I've just been listening to a lot of The Cure and Portishead. And I've hopped on the Harry Styles bandwagon. I see his album behind you. All my friends really like his music, so I've started listening to that as well. It's very good.
Similar to yourself, I've only recently come to the bandwagon, but have somehow fully fallen on board. So all very solid choices from both of you. Amy and Josh, thank you so much for your time. Congrats on the new single Noise and the announcement of the new record Perfect World, which is coming out in June. But thank you so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
I'm Kristen.
And I'm Jen from the I Mom So Hard podcast.
Now listen, we don't want to brag, but yes, we are moms. We're average moms.
Below average sometimes.
But we're not just moms.
Yeah, we don't want you to think that we're just moms. And we're not just supermodels either. We're not just pieces of meat.
That's right. We're not even close.
Yeah.
But we are comedians and we're also best friends.
We're also best-selling authors.
And television writers.
We created a viral web series.
With over 300 million views.
Okay,
What's
that's
up?
bragging.
Who's bragging? And we were in our swimsuits. Again, not supermodels.
We're also podcasters.
Are we podcasting right now?
Not right now, but we have been podcasting for 3 years. We're bringing laughs every Tuesday to women and moms everywhere.
And one dude who's a sophomore in college, his name's Greg, whatever, he messaged us and made me feel cool.
So nice. Amazing. Please listen to the I Mom So Hard podcast on Acast.
Woo!
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.